Now, I wanted to answer a question to you. I bet a lot of you guys are wondering, like, why do we look at, what brought us together? Because that is your strong points. That is the strong point. Think of it as like, your strengths and weaknesses. Except I don't see any weaknesses. I see everything as a strength. It's just utilized in different ways in different times. For instance, like your strengths could be a weakness if you're trying to, if it's a time of needing to surrender, right? Like you're good at organizing. You're good at, helping people. You're good at you know maybe even reading a situation, but those strengths can even be weaknesses in certain area in certain times, right? So for instance, like your organization may not be needed if you're, if someone's trying to give you a gift or trying to help you relax or trying to help you or assist you. That could be a weakness, right? Delegating and helping people, allowing people in. Like there's a lot of things that can, there's a lot of strengths and weaknesses that aren't really strengths and weaknesses. They're just like inappropriately used, or they're not, either they're not worked on enough or whatever. So I don't see anything as a weakness, but I always see challenges though. Challenges are definitely real because we face those things every day. But what I see from your relationship right now, okay, you guys have really strong manifestation potential here. But the only problem I see in this whole thing is that there is still a focus on pain from the past. Even though there's energy for bringing someone in, or finding love, or sharing love, right, outside of yourself. There is still a hang up on the past, which is also which is inevitably drawing you in. Now, I did pull a reading. Well, I didn't pull a reading. Something happened with my recording. But I had cards that fell out, and it was the Nine of Wands, Two Pentacles, those two. I remember those two clearly. I can't remember the other two that fell out because there were four cards, but I only remember two. And those two cards definitely told me that there was some definite defensiveness. Of course, because you've gone through so much, you guys are tired, you guys are exhausted, you guys have gone through some crazy stuff, but you guys still have that, hanging on to hope regarding relationships. But I think there's a lot of looking at it from a practical way. That's not allowing yourself to be emotionally open to, to it, if that makes sense. Like, how do I say this? Like, there's defensiveness because you've gone through enough crap. So you're trying to make a decision about either taking up a relationship or considering a relationship in a very practical manner because you're exhausted. Your emotions are, you feel honestly depleted, I feel. But the thing is that, oh, the Page of Cups was in there too. The Page of Cups was one of the fourth cards that are coming back to me. But you have obviously there's something conjuring. There's something that conjuring in the sense of like, in yourself, some sort of happiness that's coming and growing within yourself, and it's looking at that Page of Cups to help you decide whether or not this is something you want to invest in, or this is something that you want to put your time in, right? Figuring out whether or not what's the best option, what is the most valuable to you, and the only way you're going to know which option is the best option for you, or which one has the most value to you, is by valuing how you feel. Which is why I was like, in the very beginning, we need to make a contest about knowing how we feel, and telling the truth to ourselves about how we feel, because the more we get closer to how we feel, the easier it is to make decisions like this, instead of feeling like sort of defensive, like, oh my god, anything could happen. At the same time, you do want to see, you do want to pursue what you love. And I think there is somebody around you right now, considering that the calling your soulmate is here. And it doesn't have to be that this person is in your vicinity. This could talk about, you're making the space for someone to come in. I don't believe in conjuring, so I definitely believe in making space for the person that's coming into your life. And I definitely see that potential, but it starts by forgiving yourself, forgiving a past situation of some sort, forgiving your ex, making space, mostly, and providing that space for the person to come in, because right now it's preoccupied with looking at a lot of loss. And the reason why I'm saying that is because of the Five of Coins that's in your underlying, Five of Cups in your underlying energy, and the Nine of Pentacles. Geez, so it's like, I hate to say this, but it seems like it looks like kind of like you're tormenting yourself in a way. But I don't think it's, for some of you guys, it is straight up tormenting. Like, you guys are constantly reminding yourselves of what you don't have, and what you miss, and what you long for, right? Something that is no longer here with you. And I feel like you guys kind of, with that Gilded Cage, is constantly like an echo chamber. It's like a constant reminder of what you don't have. So that isolation kind of it kind of puts you in a place where you may feel like, you may feel really depressed at this moment, guys. But for some of you guys, it may also be that you guys took what you lost and made something out of yourselves, right? You really did, and you really did put the effort into whatever your career was, whatever you were doing in life. You were really doing the best that you could with what you had. You used that energy, that loss, as fuel for something else. But I still feel like it still makes you feel like you're missing something. It still, that work still reminds you of why you're doing it. So even if it's not kicking yourself, it still kind of feels like you're just, you kind of still feels like you're not getting everything that you've ever wanted. Because the Knight of Pentacles, it could mean, to me, it's always like you're physically fulfilled, you have the finances, you have the stability, you're even confident in yourself to be able to execute what you need to execute. You know that you're stable because you work so hard to be that way. But at the same time, there's not a lot of emotional fulfillment, So go ahead and pick the side that resonates with y'all the most. I'm going to just go ahead and start with this person over here with justice and their mindset. And this person is very interesting. This person obviously has some hang-ups in regards to the past. Some things have not been amended. Some things have not been let go. And you can kind of tell because justice is is the thought process of the relationship. I feel like this relationship is actually fairly new, almost like it hasn't started yet. For some of you guys, it is about to start. Like it's literally on its first leg. But for some of you guys, it's not starting yet. It's like the conjuring, the cultivating of feelings, the growth of feelings here. It's something that's, building and growing over time between you and this individual. And if this is not someone that's in your present at this moment, this is about starting a new beginning because you've reached an ending at some point. But the problem is ending the situation because this person here is having a hard time releasing things. This person is having a hard time, forgiving and, forgiving of themselves, forgiving the situation and creating a balance with themselves, right? This situation, I feel like this person feels like they need an apology the most because of how they're presenting themselves with the Six of Wands. And I don't want to say this person is definitely feeling entitled. I do feel like this person has succeeded and has overcome a lot of great things in their life. And it's because of the things that they've learned from a situation that obviously they feel like either they had put into fault or they had been wronged by. But they still made they made a face for themselves. They've done some things that made them proud of who they are. But at the same time, it's kind of put them in a situation where, they kind of feel like, I kind of get this vibe of they're very prideful. Like because they've gone through so much crap, they can't be told anything different. And it's because they don't forgive the situation for what happened. So they're not able to grow. They're not able to expand. They're not able to, receive anything more, right? They can. It's just going to require them to forgive, right? But right now, it looks like they're not in a position to, even though the Six of Wands is actually a card for progress. But when it's in this situation like here, Three of Swords, the Justice card, that means some things need to definitely be balanced and be corrected. Now, at the same time, it can be read on this side here that this person, sees the relationship as something that can be balanced, can be worked on, and obviously, right? But I feel like considering this is a relationship that's happening in this present, in this moment, right? I feel like this person knows that there's some things that need to be balanced out. But they're proud of the things that they've been doing so far. They've been proud of, how much they've been putting into the relationship. They've been seeing the results that they were looking for. They are very happy. And I think the reason why they're really focusing on getting a good balance in the relationship is because of the Three of Swords. They may have had some balance issues in the past regarding their relationships. They may not have gotten some fair treatment in the past either. And this is really highly influencing their behavior and their constant effort to continue to better themselves and, better the flow that they get in the dynamic in this relationship with you guys. Or maybe this is even you, Cancer, right? Now, the other person is showing with their mind space the Seven of Cups. So this is wonderful in a way. The Seven of Cups always talk about there's plenty of options ahead, but I kind of don't get the option kind of portion. I think there's a lot of ways that this person can see this relationship going, and that doesn't make them freak out or make them lose their minds. This is like opening the door for amazing possibilities. And I feel like this person has a lot of dreams that they want to pursue, but they have to pick which one first to go down, right? Which one they want to, concentrate on. And with this relationship, I feel like it inspires them to dream big, to have many different dreams, have many different goals goals in mind for the relationship and for themselves. And I do feel like this person is definitely in a situation where they're just enjoying the love in the moment, even if it does kind of give this honeymoon phase kind of feel to it. But how they're presenting themselves in the present is actually the Six of Pentacles. So they are, I don't think they're taking too much out of the relationship. I think they're honestly trying to maintain a balance too. I think they're physically putting in the effort that they can in the relationship. And this is mostly because they are creating something. They've given birth to a beautiful idea or dream that they have regarding this relationship. They're creating a future. So they're putting in as much work as they possibly can here. This person is actively manifesting, and they're thinking of they're not thinking too much of the future. They're thinking of the now, but based off of what they want to create in the now, right? Which is a lot of things. I do think this person may kind of come off to this person a bit confusing, because this person has a lot of dreams that they want to pursue. They have a lot of things they want to go after, but I don't think they're all unrealistic here. I think some of them may be hard to kind of accomplish, but I feel like that doesn't stop this person from still dreaming and still thinking and still using their passions, their many passions, to influence their constant effort towards making a stable dynamic in the relationship. Now, at the same time, this person may have a situation where, even though this is a balanced situation presently, there may not feel like there is some things that they can move on from. Maybe this situation is with the current person here. I think that maybe this person, and this is a totally different kind of read here for those of you that resonated with the last interpretation or the interpretation beforehand, and so on. If this is a situation where this person thinks that this relationship needs to be, healed and needs, some apologies exchanged or whatever, because they've been hurt by this person before, I think this person is trying their best to work on things, really trying their best to, to invest time and grow the relationship the best that they can. The challenge is very interesting. It's the Ten of Pentacles. So the challenge is really an ending. Can you believe it? The challenge is an ending. But what brought you two together is the Magician, which is believing yourself, having confidence, knowing that you have everything that you need to to start yourself off and really get yourself ahead, right? The Magician is very confident in himself. He needs that confidence. He needs to believe in himself in order for him to be able to manifest, for him to create any sort of magic. I don't know why I want to say conjure so much. But you guys are strong together because you guys believe that you guys can have whatever you want. Your dreams can be reached. But there's a lot of focus from this person on what went wrong, which is perhaps why it's hard for this situation, this Ten of Pentacles, to be moving forward. Now, this could also indicate, too, not just that there's an ending of a cycle, but, situation went, something ended and this is about starting something new. This Ten of Pentacles could talk about the challenges, commitments, committing to something. I think this person may be married even, but they're not happy with the marriage. So they're ready to kind of go about their business and do what they love to do. And I think this person's in a situation where they're trying to separate because they're not happy. There's some old issues here, but they're realizing that they are powerful, even regardless of how their relationship is. So if you guys are not together, this person, and this is not you, this person may be married, this person may be in a current relationship, or currently united with somebody, but at the same time, I think they're also in the same vein, separating or divorcing this individual as well, because of the Three of Swords I see here, and the Seven and the Six of Wands. Independence, in my opinion, I see the Six of Wands, success, being, recognizing yourself, being the sore thumb that sticks out of the crowd, but not in a bad way. I feel like this is someone that's definitely confident in themselves. It's building confidence in themselves anyway. And you guys have from the Crystal Wisdom Healing Oracle, Kambaba Jasper. All right, let's see what that's all about here. Kambaba Jasper. What an interesting name. Y'all, I feel like I got a headache. I don't know what's going on. I feel like maybe I ate too much salt or something. But Kambaba Jasper Ancient echoes. Kambaba Jasper attunes your personal biorhythms to the natural cycles of the planet. This crystal also facilitates deep clearing of your karmic body and the ancestral line. Self-understanding. When you live in your head rather than the physical world, your cellular structure becomes unstable and your metabolism is thrown off balance. This sounds like this person right here, because this person is definitely is heads in the clouds. Okay, they're definitely looking at the situation. From a very dreamy standpoint, and I didn't see that as something wrong, but like I was saying, this person may have an issue here because this person is in the clouds thinking everything's cool and fine, but there's actually some things that this person's having a hard time getting over. You know what I mean? So which is why this person may want an apology from this person, but they think everything's cool when everything is actually not cool, or maybe not, at least emotionally for them, and it's not being recognized because this person is not looking at the situation. They're looking at what they want. Okay, so which just explains the Five of Cups there too. But you may not be assimilating oxygen or nutrients such as minerals and vitamins. Remember that ideas are nutrients too. Disrupting your autonomic nervous or the autonomic nervous or immune systems may be caused by ancient traumas and family dramas. Okay. Ooh, all right. Divination. Get in touch with your ancestors, and understanding the processes of creation helps you to realize the value of recycling the past to create a more potent future. Okay, that's why the Three of Swords for this person here is coming up. Recycling the past. This person's being reminded of a time of when they were the least happiest, but the time where it was the most difficult. And of course, the Three of Swords, in my opinion, is a trigger and it's a trauma at the same time, right? It triggers a trauma. It triggers a time when you were the most traumatized, or when something associated to a certain instance or incident in your life is brought up. Right? This is a trigger to me. So this person is finding that they can be strong in a situation that does make them feel like, I guess that reminds them of a time when they survived something like this Three of Swords. So that's good. Check out what is passed down the ancestral line and utilize homeopathic healing for miasms such as tuberculosis. Okay, so be careful with your health, guys. So the chakras that it hits is the base, heart, ultra, major, and causal. And the soul path, reconnecting to is reconnecting to ancient wisdom and the roots of being. The roots of being. The roots of being, all that is pretty much allowing things to come into your life and not really trying to stronghold it. But I feel like both parties are capable of doing it, but it has to be from an emotional place. I think everybody is just kind of focusing on themselves, but there's got to be healing in their emotional, in that space that, of course, it's holding up the space that's, that is, how do I say this? I'm having a hard time speaking today. Yeah. So this is what I want to say. All right. They have to forgive this past, make space for it, right? Make space for what they want to come in by forgiving the past. That's what I want to say. Jeez. It took me forever to say that, right? But the Five of Cups, that's focusing on what's lost, what's not there, what's no longer working. And the only thing you can do now, guys, is, especially after mourning and accepting and acknowledging how you feel, after that is about shifting your focus and going after, new dreams and different paths to get your dream, because it can be possible.